we have to strengthen our minds. And if you understand that what you think about constantly is what you create, and you find yourself in a negative place, you need to do things to kind of eliminate those negative things. And one thing that I did was read constantly.
Yep.
I started reading for 3 or 4 hours a day, whether it's self-help, positive motivation, whatever it is. I started listening to motivational things on YouTube daily. I did this stuff daily. Started to exercise 5 times a week. So all these things are going to help you go into a better direction, a more positive direction.
Yes.
And try to be around the negative people as less than you possibly can. Maybe try to be a light for them and give them a positive way to look at things. Because maybe they don't want to be there either. They don't want to live in a sea of negativity, but they don't know how.
Yep.
So
and they feel hopeless as well.
Yeah. So you have to try to be the change that you want in the world. And that's as far as everything's concerned. Try to be that change.
Try to be that change.
Yeah.
Well, and you brought up a good point while you were talking, as far as you reading books, you watching videos, you finding ways, because you made a decision, this is what I want. And so you started down a path. Here's the deal, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, there are no excuses, because you got to ask yourself, what are my resources? What resources do I have to be able to pull myself out of whatever dungeon I'm in? And the answer is, we live in a world, in a time with infinite resources. We live in a time where average people go viral every day.
Absolutely.
You can look up any, you have our show. I had mentioned our show earlier, but you can find any speaker, any motivational person, any self-help person, any person that's going to help you learn any skill you possibly want to learn.
Absolutely.
So here's resources, right?
Success leaves clues.
Success leaves clues. So last year, this last March, it was a year ago this week actually. So kind of crazy, I didn't even think about that. But a year ago last week, my brakes went out. And I told you, I was in the middle of creating my own business, so the income wasn't flowing in. So when I'm talking brakes, I'm not talking my brake pads, but like for some reason I have this habit of just really wearing down a car's brakes. And I'm talking about I had to replace the calipers, the rotors, the brake pads. And so this job, I've done it before, believe me. It's my bad habit of running this car down, right? So I've been there before. I know this is $1,200 if I take it in to get it fixed. So I started thinking about, what are my resources? What do I have access to? How can I take care of this? And I started researching the parts, and I found out that I could buy the parts for much, much cheaper, for a fraction of the cost. And I could buy the tools to do this job for even still a fraction of the cost of what it would take me to go have somebody work on it. And then I started asking myself, what resources do I have to be able to go out and do this brake job myself? Well, when I was a kid, I used to spend time with my uncle in his garage, and he used to fix on cars, and so I had this memory that I could go back to where I had, this was back when I was between 12 and 13, 14, 15. So I had these memories that I had accessed from a long time ago. And then I looked up on YouTube and watched videos.
Really?
And so I completed this full brake job. My full front brakes. I replaced the calipers, the rotors, and I report I've been a year and I stopped safely every time, knock on wood. So the brakes have worked. But, so watch this. I go to pull back out of the driveway. I bled my brakes. I had to bleed the whole system. That was part of the process. I went to go bleed my brakes, backed up. All of a sudden, my pedal went straight down, and all my brake fluid leaked out from my back tires. So, turns out my drum brakes are also bad, and they just went out completely. And I also busted a wheel cylinder. So now I'm out of my league, right? I go get the parts. I'm trying to think, what are my resources? Like, I watched a YouTube video. If anybody's ever replaced drum brakes, this is science. You got to get springs and hey, I can watch stuff on YouTube, and then there's stuff that I know that I'm just not able to do.
Right.
And so I'm like, what are my resources? And then I remembered I have this amazing neighbor, great guy. My son is one of his son are like best friends.
Yeah.
And they play together all the time, and he loves fixing stuff. He's very mechanical. And so I called him up and said, hey, what do you know about drum brakes? And so BJ came down and he helped me. And when I say help me, I got to be his lovely assistant and hand him parts and take pictures and make sure, he put my drum brakes together. And so for a fraction of the cost, I was able to still fix both my front and back, and something that would have cost me $2,000. I was able to save money because we have resources. There are no excuses to not make something happen. If you don't have the internet, where do you go?
Library.
You have
A lot
free access
of-
to the library, right?
If you can't figure out yourself, you can ask somebody. Another resource that I want to mention is, for this particular case, is our 3-part episode on gratitude.
Yeah.
And being thankful for what you have, showing gratitude is a big part of getting out of a negative or a bad place as well. And it was a big part for me was showing gratitude and being thankful and doing things for other people. So I would also tune into that episode on gratitude, and that's the beginning of a lot of hope within yourself as well. So, yeah.
So make your decision. Understand, are the behaviors and habits that I'm doing right now, are they helping me become what I want to become in life? And if not, you got to change. And to change, who are the people that I know? Who can I talk to? What resources do I have? Because there are plenty.